Oh, it's so nice to see. Look at all the people, our friends who have come to support us. Thank you so much. We have a lot of our EPIC family here. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part of us.
And many others who are joining from other networks and contacts from all these speakers. This is going to be an incredible event of useful information for the business owner. Hi, Tony from Chicago. Thanks for coming. I see Allie and Rochelle. Glenn says, hello, Michelle. Glenn from Minneapolis, Sabrina from Canada.
Wow.
Peter O'Hara from Jupiter. Hi, Chris Rivera. Bill from New Jersey. Nancy's excited to get started. Michael Feiger, of course, is here. Sabrina's from Boca.
Pamela,
yes, this will be recorded.
This will be recorded.
Wow.
Oh, Sicily is here. Now I gotta really turn up my game. Oh,
Sicily's
shoot.
taking a break from what's going on in DC today.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks for coming early. I see Iris is here and Harumi. Frida, who's always here. She's always so supportive.
She is.
Dan, David, and Donald. Drew. Jeff, thanks for coming. Kristen Stover is breaking from her business and taking care of everyone else's business to be here. We're going to get started in about 2 minutes. We just want to make sure that everyone can get in. Want to make sure there are no technical errors or anyone's having any problems. Glad you're here, Roy.
Roy is a superstar. Awesome to see him here.
He is. And Virginia. Virginia is absolutely fabulous. Yes, Virginia, it is an all-star super cast of characters. And we are just waiting to get started, as you can tell. Just one more minute, we'll get started. We still have people coming in. Not everyone is as punctual as all of you are. Good to see you, Barbara. Glad you're here, Donald. Lois, I think we can get started. You know, people are being let in and they're just automatically coming in. And you know what? Let's not penalize the people who arrived early and on time. So let's get started.
We're on a tight schedule because we want to cover a lot of information for you. So when Eileen and I first started talking about this, one of the things that we talked about is what are some of the frustrations that small businesses have right now? And what is it that's stopping us during this time of uncertainty? And a lot of that is not having all the pieces that you need in one place so that you can really be successful. So we put this summit together to put in place 7 experts that can really give you the foundation of what you need to make a business work if you will work it. So we are really excited to bring this to you and share these speakers. All of our speakers are experts in their own field. They have experience in business, so they know what they're talking about, and they come with a passion to help small business. So Eileen, you want to introduce some of the speakers, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you, Lois. I am so excited to hear each and every one of the speakers today. So today, Lois will be speaking on, do you know the one thing that if you focus on it will get you the results you want? At 12:25, Christopher Prouty will be speaking on press your foot on the gas with the #1 secret you need right now to unlock sustainable growth in your business. At 12:40, Brian Daly will be speaking about what financial factors do you need to consider in order to thrive as an entrepreneur. Learn the secret to your business financial success. And then we will move on to Michelle Lee at 12:55, and she'll be doing an intro to her bank program, The Secret Science and Solution to Buying Behavior. We will then move on at 1:10 to Randy Carpina, who will be talking about protecting your uniqueness. And at 12:50, well, I take it back, 1:25, Kathy Myron will be speaking, when your company is hacked, will you be prepared? And I'll be speaking last at 1:40, I hope you'll all stick around for it, on how to develop a LinkedIn profile for the business owner to build credibility to attract clients. So we have a lot of content here. Every single person here is needed in order to grow your business. So Lois, I think that we should get started right now. You are our first speaker, so I'm going to introduce you.
Eileen, before you do that, can we just say something about our sponsors? We have some wonderful people who have stepped up and offered to sponsor this event. So thank you so much. We've been running them throughout this while we were waiting to get started. But thank you so much. So let's see if I can give the list. We have Eric Rosberg, right? With
Country Cross Mortgage.
We have Michelle and her bank system. Thank you so much, Michelle. And we have Maritza Wellington. And then we have Brian Daly with Epic. And I've missed one. Who have I missed?
Susan Beavers.
Susan Beavers. There you go.
So thank you for sponsoring. So Lois will be our first speaker up, and Lois is going to be speaking on, do you know the one thing that if you focus on it will get you the results you want? Lois 𝐍𝐚𝐯𝐢𝐸, PhD, is a business strategist and executive coach working with high growth companies. She has worked with business leaders for more than 30 years, working in healthcare, manufacturing, entrepreneur companies. She has experience managing global teams, building high-performing teams, and launching products globally. She is passionate about creating workplaces that engage people, develop leadership that promotes growth and achieves results. She provides clear, pragmatic processes that move your career forward.
So do you know the one thing that you must focus on to get the results that you want right now? Isn't that what we all want? Results right now. We're so impatient. But there's a lot of stressors that we're feeling right now, aren't there? We feel the stress of lack of money in business. We look at misgivings about our strategies. 96% of CEOs say that coming out of COVID, they have changed their strategy because of the market being uncertain. There are people concerns. So the people that we have on board with us right now, are they going to be the right people that we need for the future to grow our business? Maybe every month you start with the question, Where will my clients come from and where will I get sales, right? Does that sound familiar for any of you? Our business world is changing and it's evolving a lot since COVID, and it is only going to continue. We have supply chain disruptions, we have people concerns, and capital is drying up. That is going to be, I think, a particularly big issue for mid and small sized companies going forward. And so it's something we really need to think about. And so we feel like there's no time to think about those processes that we need in order to really grow our business, right? And you may be like me and you might think, wow, I'm working way, way too hard, too many hours, burning myself out. And for what am I getting from that? And so you know secretly that you need to make some shifts, but you're overwhelmed and you don't know where to focus, right? Does that sound familiar? So why is this summit so important? When I first started in business, one of the things that I did was I said, okay, I need to learn about social media. So I went to conferences, signed up for all sorts of things to learn about social media. I went and learned about content marketing. I went to as many gurus in that as I could. I went to learn about LinkedIn, and the list went on and on. And as I'm running, gathering up all the information, a voice would yell at me and say, Lois, you got to do this first. So I'd run over there, grab that piece of information, come back. And as I'm running, another voice would say, yeah, but you should have done this first. So you go back, grab that, put that in place, you keep running, and somebody else says, did you read this article? So now I'm reading and running at the same time until I fall flat on my face. And that is the experience of so many of us in business. And we want a different kind of a solution. So let me ask you, is your business on target, on schedule, and making the money that you want to make? So the frustrations that we're feeling, they're normal. Big companies are feeling them as well right now. So if you're looking at the successful companies, Fortune 500, Fortune 100, they're saying right now that their profit margins are getting thinner. They're having a harder time turning a profit. So if they're having difficulty, it's only natural that we would feel the same. Established firms feel that there's a disruption in their whole system. Startups feel like opportunities are closed to them. And the whole customer response process has begun to change. We know that from what's happened with retail to online change, right? So there's a sense of overwhelm and uncertainty about where to focus to get the results that we want. So what is it that stops us? Do you feel like there's this invisible hand that's keeping you from achieving your goals? So let me just explain who I am. I'm a business strategist and executive coach. I work with businesses that want to grow. I've developed innovative products and patents. I've taken a manufacturing company from startup to selling in 22 countries. I've worked with multinational companies. I've collaborated with US and Japanese companies for biotech business partnerships, and I've worked in healthcare services for women and children. So as we look at the market, Microsoft CEO Satya says, every industry right now is going through changes, and that's here to stay. So here's an article that was published in the Harvard Business Review. It looked at the changes that companies are going through. How are they adapting and adjusting to the changes? What they found was 37% of businesses today are in search of focus. They're not clear about their focus. 20% say that they're stuck and skeptical about their future. 24% say that they're aligned but constrained by disruption in supply chains or people. 1 out of every 5 is struggling just to keep up. So in the face of that, the question is, how can you be successful? Well, you can be if you focus on the one thing that will move the needle in your business. But why is focus so difficult? Because that's what gets us stuck. Well, let's take a look at the brain. We have the conscious brain and the unconscious brain. The unconscious brain is in charge of all of our memories and our experiences. It also keeps all of negative emotions from being presented to the conscious brain till the conscious brain is ready to deal with it. So what does that mean? It means we have experiences that come into the brain, events like, say you won the lottery. Your unconscious brain will store that. First kiss, we all remember that. That's stored in our memory, in the unconscious memory. 9/11 attacks, if we were around at that time, we remember that. So we have messages coming into the brain all the time through our nose, through taste, through touch, through hearing, through the visual. What does that mean? We have 11 million bits of information per second entering the brain. The problem is that our brains can only process 126 bits of information per second. So what do? The unconscious brain is has a file cabinet in the brain, and it says, okay, when you said that, that's just like what my dad used to say, and he really never meant it. So the brain says, okay, delete, that goes into my delete file. Or we may have a situation where we say, okay, you know what? I'm going to just change that message up a little bit so it serves my purpose. And now pretty soon that message is not recognizable, so we distort. Or we might say, you know what, Sally always responds this way in teamwork. We can't count on her ever. And so we generalize. So these are the three things the brain does to chunk down in order to deal with all of the messages, the 11 million bits per second that enter, that we have to reduce down to 126. So what does that mean? This is one of my favorite charts to look at how's the business doing. And basically, we're going to only talk about priorities because we don't have time to do any more than that today. But basically what you look at is, okay, my priorities and the people that I have, do I have the right people in the right spot doing the right job? And are the relationships as they need to be so that the right people can get the work done that they need to get done? That will create the results that I need. So priorities, you have your own notion of the messages that are coming in, and you may have chunked them into different categories. So do your customers. So do any of the people that you work with. So ever had the experience where you said, boy, I thought that was so clear. Why didn't you get it? Well, it's because each person has their own file drawer and they're sorting. So often we're like this poor panda bear where we get stuck. The question is, how do you get unstuck? And I find the best way to get unstuck is to simply ask yourself a question. But if you're a fast-growing company or a startup company, keep your time frame very short, because you get too scattered if you start focusing on a large time frame. So I look at a month generally and ask this question. In 1 month from today, if I'm looking back on this month, what has to have happened for me to be happy with my progress today? So take that question, you say, okay, so with that, what's the one thing I need to do to move the needle forward towards my goal? And yet, even with that question, we sometimes have trouble chunking it down enough so we can really respond in a good way. So Dan Sullivan has a wonderful little tool that I love to use. And one of the things he says is to start looking at, where do I feel danger? So right now, today, this month, where is danger for me? Is it that I don't have leads? Chris will answer those questions for you and Eileen. Is it that I don't have cash flow? Well, Brian will answer that question for you. Is it that my business isn't safe? Well, Kathy and Randy will answer that. Is it that I don't have sales? That's Michelle. So look at, where do I have danger? Make a list, put them in hierarchical order, and then take the one that if I do this one, how many of the other ones will fall away? The one that will make all the rest of the ones fall away as much as possible, that's your number one priority. And from that, then you will find opportunity. And as you work on opportunity, you want to use your strengths in order to be able to make that come to fruition. So what you want to do is look at, where do you experience danger? And where will you create priority? Write it down. I've left you 3 spaces. These worksheets are available to you on the replay, but you want 1. But I left you 3 because sometimes our brains get stuck if we don't give it permission to write down more than 1. So then you go on and say, okay, with that 1 priority, what are 1 to 3 actions that I can take in order to move that priority forward? And be very specific with that and delineate a measure. So if it's, I'm going to take and convert leads into 5 sales today, your measurement is 5 sales. If it's, I'm going to change the lives of 2 people because you're in the service industry, your measurement is 2 people, right? So from that, then you want to put that in a chart. This is for solopreneurs. You can use this in a larger company as well. Simply put down, what is your measurement? And then every day, take a look. Did I accomplish it? If it was to change 2 lives a day, did I do that? If it was to convert into, so I have 5 sales, did I do that? If it was $1,000 in cash, did I do that? And if you have more than yourself working with you, have a daily huddle or a weekly huddle. Schedule it and schedule it at odd times so people know you're serious about showing up and being there on time. So 7:23 a.m., 7:29 a.m. Keep it short, no more than 15 minutes ever, because you only have 3 things you're looking at, right? Keep it short. Only use and report results. This is not time for discussion. You're only looking at results. And after the huddle, then you want to go on and meet with people who need to deal with what the issue is. So the real question is, are you ready to push the needle and get the results that you want? These worksheets are going to be available to you on the replay. Use them. And actually, you're going to grow to love them because you're going to see that you're going to get results. And they're my gift to you. And for those of you who struggle with this or would like some help with it, I'd love to help you. Just call and book an appointment. Thanks so much.
Lois, that was absolutely incredible. I learned so much. I'm sure we all have. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. This is your contact information. I'm going to put up the slide, which has additional contact information for you. And there's the additional information if you would like to get in touch with Lois to find out more about her coaching and advisement. You can contact her. There's a phone number, email, website, and you can reach out to her. Our next speaker, Chris Prouty. Chris Prouty will be speaking on Press Your Foot on the Gas with the #1 secret key you need right now to unlock sustainable growth in your business. Chris Prouty helps businesses unlock the secrets of client attraction. For years, business owners have struggled to grow their businesses organically because there was no proven system on earth that allowed them to truly attract clients online. Not even the whiz-bang superstar social media consultants provided anywhere near the level of visibility and connection with their audience they needed. This is precisely why Chris built his coaching and training programs. To revolutionize how business owners can exponentially grow their revenue with the most advanced organic client attraction strategies available anywhere. If you're sick of guessing and want the exact step-by-step methods that Chris uses with his clients to grow their businesses, his coaching is going to be the silver bullet you've been looking for. Chris, take it away.
Incredible. Do I get full screen on this or do I have to talk from a tiny little box?
You get whatever you want.
Make me full screen, Eileen. Okay. Press the button.
So I will stop my share and it is all you.
I hope you'll pardon me for starting this quickly, but I want to let you know that you're in the exact right place because in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you how I grew a coaching and training business to over $70,000 a month using nothing except for free posts in my social media news feeds. I didn't use paid ads and I didn't pay a high-priced consultant to get it done. And if you stick with me through this, I'm going to give you access to the ebook I wrote on the topic that goes through the exact strategies that I'm about to show you and has worksheets and guides and everything you could possibly need to get this done, because this is something that works for a new or an existing business. Like one of my clients who started working with me with nothing and hired me, and now he's traveling the world servicing his clients. I've got another client who tried for 6 years to get her coaching business profitable and was able to do so after 4 weeks in using these strategies. I've got another client who, after working with me, came to me and said, I've got clients coming to me so fast, I've had to fundamentally change the way my business works to handle the workload. Because this is something that works whether you coach, consult, you're an entrepreneur, or you're a service provider. And more than that, it's something that has longevity and is something that is sustainable. These are techniques that you can use over and over again for years. And I want to share these with you today because there are, I promised you I was going to give you one key. There are actually 4 keys that I'm going to share with you today. And when you put them all together, they all work as this one methodology that you can use to attract clients to you through social media, through search, through networking on a regular basis. Your clients just step out of the shadows, wanting to work with you. And the reason that most people don't do this is because they're stuck using social media for their business the way that they were taught to use social media for their personal lives. That just doesn't work. Or they're taking advice from amateurs who have emerged and stopped working at their waitressing jobs or waitering jobs, and now they claim that they're some kind of a social media expert, and they're getting bad advice and they're following that bad advice. That leaves you feeling frustrated, stuck, and like social media just doesn't work. So let's cover these 4 keys, these 4 elements that you need right now to start attracting clients to you through social media. I don't have a presentation and I'm not going to make you sit through my life story. I'm just going to give you this information. I hope you have something to write with because you're going to want to take notes. Okay, the first key is that you need to find your optimized audience. And you need to become present with your optimized audience. Think about it. There are people that you wish to serve. This is your optimized audience. These are the people that you want to be around, that you can talk to every single day and never get fatigued in talking to these people. That's your optimized audience. And you want to serve these people. So you must find these people and become present with them online. One of the keys to this is understanding the second order of where these people are, because there are obvious places where these people hang out, but then there are some not so obvious places that you could go online to become present with these people. Let's say, for example, you wish to serve stay-at-home moms. These are moms that have kids that run the household and that's their business. Well, what you might not realize is that if you go onto LinkedIn and you search for job title stay-at-home mom, there are thousands of stay-at-home moms that are on LinkedIn that are looking to do something in business and have that as their title. You now have direct access to thousands of people like that. Another example, again, if you're targeting stay-at-home moms and you want to sell to these people, find groups that they're in on their socials that aren't necessarily the obvious ones, like stay-at-home mom groups. That's obvious. But the not obvious or the second order is groups for people who do homeschooling or who do Montessori teaching type teaching at home. Once you find those groups, now you have a right pool of potential prospects who you wish to serve that you can become present with. But here's the key. You can't try to sell to these people when you're present with them. If you try to sell to them, you know what's going to happen. You're going to get kicked out of the groups, people are going to ignore you, and your business is going to fail because you approached someone and you just sped right up and offered them the sale before they even got to know you. It's like trying to date someone and asking them to get married before you even order the appetizer at dinner on your first date. It just doesn't work. So you need to become present with them, but don't try to sell to them. They will discover what you do. The people that need what you do will find you as they learn more about you. Okay, so the first key is optimizing your audience, defining who you wish to serve, and finding them online and becoming present with them. And this process works so well. This is what really fundamentally, radically changed the way I attract clients online. And it's not just me. I've got coaches and consultants that have back-to-back multiple five-figure months using that one component of the strategy. The second key that I want to share with you is that you must optimize your presence online so that anytime your optimized audience is exposed to your presence, they take some sort of an action. You see, reaching out to people and doing the push method of selling just doesn't work anymore. It doesn't feel good, and we don't want to do it. We don't want to do cold outreach. What I'd rather have is have my clients coming to me, asking me to serve them. And I think you probably feel the same. So if you can optimize your social presence so that whenever your optimized audience is exposed to your presence, they're taking an action, now you're starting to fill up your calendar and you're starting to get clients and prospects coming to you, whether you're working or not. So what I'm asking you to do here is think about what's that unified action that you'd like your prospects to take whenever they're exposed to you online. For me, it's not hard to see. Wherever you find me online, you see that there's a link to my calendar. I want my prospects getting on my calendar so that I'm able to demonstrate whether or not I can serve them. I don't want to take on every prospect that comes to me. I only want to serve the people that I know are going to get results, people who are willing to do the work. And I can most easily do that when they're on my calendar. You should determine what that unified action is. Some examples, it could be like me, get on my calendar. It could be download an ebook. It could be watch a video. It could be take a quiz. Whatever it is that gets that prospect one step closer to you, that's your unified action. And you should be using this everywhere so that prospects are coming to you, whether you're working or not, whether you're awake or asleep, on vacation, or sitting at home on the weekends. Okay, so that's the second key. So we've got an optimized audience and an optimized presence. And when you combine those two and you synthesize those two, your calendar starts filling up or prospects start coming to you. The third characteristic or the third key that you need is the ability to become highly visible in front of your audience. Look, here's what we know from Facebook and LinkedIn's own numbers. If you don't do anything to increase your visibility in front of your audience, less than 1% of the people who are connected or follow you are ever going to see you. And that can really damage your business because we now live in a world where you must use social media to market your business. Everything changed in 2020 and you know it. So we must become highly visible in front of our audiences. One of the secrets that I'll share with you about this is if you post more than once a day, your visibility drops by about 48%. So all of the amateurs who are telling you that you need to post 3, 4, 5 times a day, they're hurting your business because every additional time you post in a day, you're reducing your visibility. Consider that if I called you every 2 hours to tell you what I was doing, you'd stop taking my calls. Social media works the same way. If you're telling people every couple of hours what you're doing or what you're up to, social media is going to find that people are getting fatigued of your messaging and they're going to reduce your visibility. So let's keep it simple, my friends, and we're going to post once a day, 5 days a week. That's how you can maximize your visibility. But once you get that visibility maximized, then you need to be able to create the content that is going to connect with your audience and is going to convert them from someone who doesn't know you to someone who's familiar with you to then someone who wants to buy from you. That's the customer journey. And we do that with the content that we create. The biggest tip I can give you is always be sharing the transformation that you offer when you're writing your content or when you're creating your videos. Showcase the transformation that others get from you, as opposed to talking about yourself all the time. If you find that your social posts are always starting with the word I, you're doing it wrong. Because the inconvenient truth, nobody cares about you. They care about the transformation that they can get from working with you. And when you start writing about that transformation by telling people what it's like on the other side of working with you and what others have gotten from you, and showing testimonials and showing what that after looks like, that's where they step forward, raising a hand saying, I want what you've got. You are the sole source for the solution that I'm seeking. So think about these three things that we've got so far. We've got an optimized audience who is exposed to your optimized presence. They're seeing you more and more online, and you're always talking about the transformation in your content. You are building a machine that is going to get clients coming to you. And the fourth key is that you've got to find a way to do this rapidly, because you no longer have a choice. Everything changed in 2020, and social media is now the level playing field that we all have access to market our businesses. But we also must realize that with 2.8 billion people on Facebook, 780 million on LinkedIn, there's a lot of competition out there. And the competition increases every single day. And you're not just competing with people who have been doing it for years, you're competing with people who decided to do what you do today. And you're also competing with the mental state of someone who says, I'm just not going to do anything. So you've got to be able to persuade all of those people that you've got the answer that they've been looking for. You've got a couple of different choices in the way you can do this. You can guess and use trial and error, and you can try things and wait for the feedback to come in and see what worked. Or you can follow a step-by-step plan that has been established, tested, and perfected for 21 years. That's what I do. If you decide to use the guessing or the trial and error, just be prepared. It's going to take some time before you find the answers, if you ever find the answers. But when you use guessing and trial and error, you try things, you experiment, you have a hypothesis, collect the feedback, find out what worked, and do more of that. It could take months, it could take years. I'm not sure if you have that kind of time. I certainly know that I don't. And that's why I developed this step-by-step methodology. And you're going to see that outlined in the free ebook that's available to you as being a part of this today. But I also wanted to give you an alternative to going out there and guessing and using trial and error, and that's simply having a conversation with me, where I would love to share with you a customized strategy just for you. You see, you're unique, and your business is unique, and you have unique needs. And clearly, this is a webinar where I've only got 15 minutes with about 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining, and I can't customize what I'm teaching you today to you and your business. But if you look at the testimonials that I've got, and you look at the people that I've worked with, thousands of them, over 21 years, you'll see that once I get to know just a little bit about you and your business, I can offer you a customized solution that will work for you. It takes about 30 minutes in a working session. I'm dropping into the chat right now 2 different options for you. One of them is a link to meet with me, and the other is to simply have a chat with me through social media. And you'll see each of those links in the chat right now. But I want to impress upon you this. When you combine these 4 keys together, magic can happen. And you'll see in the chat, there are a lot of people who have worked with me here. They are all going to chime in and let you know what it's like to work with me. They just can't help themselves. Combine these 4 keys. Find your optimized audience. Expose them to an optimized presence that has a unified action that you want them to take so that they're always stepping towards you. Then become highly visible with them and create the content that showcases the transformation that you offer. And find a way to do all of this rapidly. You will become the sole source for the solutions that your prospects are seeking. You will outmarket everyone else. You will rise to the top. And if you do this consistently, and you do this with purpose, and you do it every single day, it is simply going to work. And that's the key. So the 4 keys that I've outlined today, put them all together into one unit. I've got 44 seconds left. I'm going to take a break because I don't think I've taken one for 14 minutes and 30 seconds. And thank you very much for your time today. Oh, did you see that? Randy gave me a seated ovation.
Thank you so much, Chris. I'm blown away as always every time I hear you speak. I think with your plan, with Lois's plan, we're done, right? Okay, because I'm ready and excited to go work on my business, but we still have some more incredible speakers up. So I am going to share your information so this way everyone can see it. They can find you at these places on LinkedIn and Facebook, because we know that you are everywhere. Lois, you want to take it and introduce our next speaker?
Thanks,
sure everybody.
Do. Will you put, there you go. Thank you. So here's another piece that you need to make your business really work well. And that has to do with money. because sometimes it's our afterthought, right? We hope that it's going to come along, but it really needs to be planned for. So Brian Daly is going to speak to us about what financial factors do you need to consider in order to thrive as an entrepreneur. Brian Daly recruits, hires, trains financial advisors across America. He teaches innovative ways to make, manage, and save money without spending more. Everyone needs a coach to help guide them, improve results, and prevent them from making mistakes with money. Brian's specialty is working with families, business owners, seniors, soon to be seniors. He recruits, hires coaches financial advisors to do the same. He works for his clients, not for Wall Street. The purpose of his financial firm is to support as many people as possible in their journey to financial freedom. Most people have absolutely no idea that tax-free, market risk-free gains locked in, liquid and congressional approved solutions to retirement have been sitting right under their noses for years, waiting to be discovered and used. So Brian, with that, we're really excited to hear what it is that you have to share with us to make this journey more pleasant.
Imagine that, I was muted. Hey, thank you so much, Lois, and thank you, Eileen, for putting this together. I feel honored and blessed to be part of this all-star lineup. And after Lois's talk and Chris's talk, I say everybody go to lunch, you're all set, and we'll see you later. Just kidding. Hey, I wanted to sidetrack for just a moment. Let me put my timer on here so I don't go over. I wanted to sidetrack just for a second and talk about the way that we all met. Pretty much, many of us, either first order, second order, third order, is really through building a word of mouth business. And that absolutely fills my appointment book every single day. And it's something that doesn't cost you anything, but it does require some work, and sort of front load that with the networking and the networking groups. Hey, my topic this morning is I am going to teach you everything that I've learned in 25 years of studying finance, investments, insurance, taxes in the next 15 minutes. So you guys ready? All right, here we go. All right. So the number one reason that small businesses fail, finances, right? And it's not because they have too much of the money. They just generally lack a poor plan. They've implemented a poor plan, and they cannot survive through any sort of hiccups in cash flow. So I hope to give you some ideas on that as we go through this. The second part of this is there's, for tax reasons and legal reasons, you need to separate your individual from your business, right? For risk, for liability, for lots of reasons. However, they're inextricably tied, right? The success of your business is directly related to the success of your personal finance, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about both and how they relate to one another. I only have 386 slides to go through. So you guys ready? Okay, there we go. So what are the keys in your business? And ask yourself the following things. Do you have a budget? Are you working off that budget? Do you know what that budget is? Do you know what your burn rate is, your cash flow? And I put in there just following the slides and the bullet points, just as reminders to kind of talk about some of these things, that it's okay to get a part-time job, work full-time on your dreams, and get a part-time job along the way to kind of maybe fill some of those cash flow holes, right? Make sure that you've got plenty of money in the account that you can survive a COVID or something that comes out of left field. Have you set up payroll? And when I say set up payroll, maybe you're a solopreneur. You need to have payroll for yourself. You need to pay yourself a salary. If you're not paying yourself a salary, there's a lot of advantages to doing it. I won't get into all the tax ramifications of it. But if the IRS comes in and says, hey, you know what? We've declared that you should be paying yourself a salary, and we're going to give you what that salary is. On the other hand, if you already have one in place, now it's on the IRS to turn around and say, that's not a reasonable salary. So do the payroll. The payroll will also allow you to smooth out some of the bumps when it comes to taxes, right? So paying the taxes. As your money comes into your account from your sales, remember to push money into the payroll, push money into the tax account, so that at the end of the year, you're not faced with a huge tax bill because you haven't been accumulating that money throughout the year. You should be doing that quarterly. Now, you should coordinate this, of course, with your accountant. Now, an accountant who's doing more than just your compliance. Compliance means they file your returns, they do your tax returns, maybe your payroll returns, that sort of thing. You want to work with someone that's going to help you put together the cash flow statements and work on that sort of stuff. You want to have separate bank accounts from your personal. Again, that's a legal issue. You want to make sure that you're on board, that your team of advisors includes an attorney, and that dovetails right into your business structure. What is your business structure going to be, not only for taxes, but for liability? Are you going to be an LLC? Are you going to be a C Corp? Is it a partnership? And what are the different ramifications for that? And then number 5 is set an emergency fund, which is truly for emergencies, to allow hiccups in cash flow to not sink your business and put you out of business. Now, on the personal side of things, this is a pay yourself first. We talked about that for the business. When it comes to planning your money, planning your finances is always the best advice, right, Eileen? We see this all the time in the post. When is the best time to get started? Well, when is the best time to have planted a tree, right? 25 years ago? But if you didn't plant a tree 25 years ago, the second best time is immediately, now, don't wait. Delay and procrastination are the biggest killers of financial success ever, right? Want to make sure that you manage your debt, have cash flow, and that dovetails into budgeting and proper protection, savings. So have a plan. What is your business financial plan? What is your personal financial plan? How do they fit all together? What are your cash flow budgets and all that other stuff? Because, and I love, Lois, the idea of the huddle in the morning. If you have business partners, a spouse in business with you, have a huddle, a daily huddle where you get together for 10 or 15 minutes and you talk about, hey, how do we do today on our sales? How do we do today on our appointments? What's our cash flow look like? And know those numbers every single day. So it's not a surprise at the end of the month or the end of the quarter. You already are tracking your numbers on a regular basis. I say that when it comes to money, there's really some simple rules. Never lose money, number 1. Never pay more in taxes than you have to. I believe in paying your fair share, but not 1 penny more than you legally are mandated to pay under the tax code. Never let your money stop compounding, and learn the truth about qualified plans. The most common money blunders that folks make is they follow a flawed conventional wisdom. The conventional wisdom today is badly, badly broken, and most people are completely clueless when it comes to them. They're just following what folks have done for the past 30 years, 50 years, 80 years in finances. There are better technologies today than what was available 80 years ago. A 30-year fixed rate loan today is an 80-year-old technology. 401k is a 30-year-old technology. There's better technologies that have been invented, and a lot of people are not aware that they exist. I talk a lot of, P.S., again, avoid mistakes, have a solid plan, and it never hurts to get a second opinion. I have not yet seen anyone, there's always a first time, I guess, but I have not seen anyone that's finances were so bad that we couldn't improve them. And I've also not seen anyone with finances that were so sterling that we couldn't improve them as well. Now, I'm not going to go through all the money blunders of the otherwise intelligent. Just know that there are dozens and dozens of them. I put the most common ones up on the screen. I recommend, of course, I am a financial advisor, that you get professional help, and you also seek out professional second opinions as well. Some of my best clients have come to me when they thought their advisor was doing an adequate job, and then we found holes in their plan so big you could drive a truck through it. So it never hurts to get a second opinion. Don't let your emotions drive your financial decisions. And especially when it comes to investments, greed and fear are two of the biggest. Now, there's a lot of uncertainty in the world and in the economy. That's no different than it has been over the past 10, 20, 30 or more years. Just know how to take your risks off the table and minimize, mitigate, transfer your risks whenever possible. This goes on, of course. Number 14 really always sticks out to me when it comes to investing. I ask folks, I said, what is your rate of return on your accounts? And they say, well, I don't really know. I say, do you think that's important to know what your rate of return is? They say, yes. And I say, well, compared to what? They say that I'm doing really well. I said, well, compared to what? How do we measure that? Then the second thing I asked them is, how do you measure risk in your portfolio? They have no idea. I said, what sort of a strategy are you following when it comes to managing your investments? Are they passive? Is it active, tactical, strategic? They have no idea at all what they're doing. It's usually a buy and hold or buy and forget, right? And be surprised either positively or negatively when you get the reports and you say, oh, this is what my account did, When it comes to taxes, the IRS tax code has been between the tax code itself and the interpretation, about 74,000 pages. My question is, you've read the entire tax code, know the entire tax code. Now, when it comes to working with an accountant, I'm talking about doing tax planning, not tax compliance. Tax compliance is, and after the year is over, reporting how much you did. Tax planning is, how do we reduce or eliminate that? And every dollar that you unnecessarily transfer to the IRS is a dollar that you could have for yourself and your family. We teach these ideas and concepts in regular classes. I'm part of the Association of Financial Educators, and I regularly teach classes on some of these ideas and principles. I'd love to, we do it for free. We don't charge anything to do that. We'd love to, if you want to learn more about things like opportunity costs and unnecessary transfers and how to avoid them, become your own bank, how to save more money. My best advice, and I hope the biggest takeaway from my time here today, is develop a plan. If you don't have a plan, unfortunately, you do have a plan. It's just a really crappy plan, right? So get a plan, improve your plan, work your plan, and work with the help of advisors who know what they're doing in order to put together and improve your plan on a regular basis. After 25 years in the business, I said this already, we have not seen a plan that was so bad that we couldn't help someone. I don't have minimums that account values that I work with. I'll work with anyone who needs the help. But we've also not seen anyone that's plan was so good that we couldn't help improve it as well. We do, if I do pat myself on the back, we build great plans. We put a lot of time, effort, and energy into building those plans, evaluating those plans, and looking at drilling down into what's the risk. Where are their assets now? Where do we see ways to improve that? Where are they putting their money? Is it all taxable? How much is it tax deferred? When we stress test it for rising prices, for crashes in the economy, crashes in the stock market. We look at their monthly expenses and drill down and see how we can help them save money where maybe ways they didn't even think of before. One of the biggest risks going forward is taxes. How can we improve our tax rate and tax situation, not only today, but also in the future? And beautiful, wonderful, colorful charts as well, aren't they? So, hey, I appreciate the time here. Thank you so much, Lois and Eileen, for putting this together. I'd be happy to consult with you. I'd be honored to be consulted with your friends, even if it's just to get a second opinion. This is my contact information. You can find me pretty much everywhere, and I'll turn it back over to you guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate the time, and what a wonderful thing you guys have put together here today. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, Brian. That was really enlightening in terms of the business financials. I mean, we have covered so much information. So Lois has covered business planning. Chris has covered how to create that visibility to get clients. And now we've handled financial, but we still have more here. So we are now going to go to Michelle Lee. Michelle Lee will be speaking about an intro to the bank program, the secret science and solution to buying behavior. Michelle Lee Murder is an award-winning certified bank coach and trainer and an international professional speaker who comes from a 28-year background in sales and marketing for a $12 million company and also spent many years in purchasing. She lost everything she owned in 2015 when she lost her corporate job and had to rebuild with nothing. She built a very successful company while also building a successful direct sales business. And the system she now teaches gave her the ability to take a startup company to success faster by knowing the communication skills to close deals faster, have leverage when negotiating, and exponentially increasing sales by knowing the values of the people she was working with, all while being authentic and building stronger relationships. She will give you a system, tool, and training that will not only exponentially increase your income, but give you the ability to close deals faster. It will save you time, energy, and money, and take your relationships with your family and friends to a whole new level. Michelle, the stage is yours.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. And how about these speakers? Oh my gosh, if you want a financial plan, you better go see Brian, and Lois is going to get you focused and get your goals accomplished. And my Chris Prouty, you are amazing at client attraction. If you guys want to blow up your social media and have people coming to you, talk to Chris. And Kathy, well, we know you're going to protect us, our data, and secure us. And if you know anyone looking for a job or a career change, Eileen is going to find them a job rapidly. So let's dive into this, because what is your business about? Your business is about people. People is the biggest portion of your business. Without them, you wouldn't have a business. So you want to be able to communicate effectively. So what am I going to show you? How many of you enjoy sales? How many of you like it? Sales kind of has a bad name, right? So you can go ahead and drop it in the chat if you like sales. I want to know, who are my salespeople out there? Who struggles with sales? Who is like, oh my gosh, the word sales makes me itchy and I just don't want to do it. It's so hard. Why does it have to be hard? I'm going to blow you away with something that's going to change the way you look at sales. Because guess what? It doesn't have to be hard. Anybody can be a great salesperson. I believe you all can if you know the secret. The secret is know your audience. Speak their language. Focus on them. Chris Prouty said it. It's not about us. They don't care about us. It's about them. So you want to focus everything on who you are talking to, or you're wasting your time. So Robert Kiyosaki said the ability to sell is the #1 skill in business, not the #2, not the #3, but the #1. So you need to get good at it. But you don't want to be one of those manipulating vulture type salespeople, those people who robo-texting you through the night with LinkedIn, sending you this horrible automated responses that have no connection whatsoever. You want to know exactly who you're talking to and connect with them. Build a relationship. How are you going to build that relationship? You need to know what's important to them. You need to know who they are. But look at this. Ooh, Salesforce.com. 67% of people miss the quota. 87% are not adequately prepared. And this is the worst offender of them all. Are you ready? 66% of people are turned off by their presentation. Wow. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be in that 66% turning people off. Only 18% of buyers will buy from a salesperson who doesn't match their buyer's personality type versus 82% when the personalities align will buy from them. Why is that? We've all met people that we automatically connect to. We've all had sales that were like, hit the easy button. Oh my gosh, why can't they all go that way? Right? But then how many of you have had the ones that you left there and you were like, wow, did I say something wrong? What could I have done differently? It was like They didn't even hear my message. I know I can help them, but they don't buy from you. And 2 weeks later, or a month later, they hooked up with Karen and they bought from Karen, your competition. Why? Was it something you did wrong? It was because you didn't communicate in their language. The most common mistake is that you only have one script and you tell the same people the same thing over and over and over again, right? It's like throwing spaghetti noodles at the wall, hoping something sticks. So that means 1 out of 4 times you're delivering the right script. 75% of the time you are turning people off. We have all taken personality assessments and they're fantastic. And how can one little assessment tell you so much about yourself, right? But have any of them ever told you why people say yes? Why people say no? What drives them to make the decisions that they make? Well, if there's different personality types, which we know because it goes back to Hippocrates, when he created the theory of the 4 temperaments and treated people based on their personality types. So we know there's 4 different personality types, right? So if there's 4 different personality types, do you think that different personalities buy for different reasons? Could that be? It's based on personality science. And this methodology is the only methodology in the world that predicts buying behavior in less than 90 seconds. And it's scientifically validated. So the woman who created the Sherry tree actually reverse engineered personality science and created a system that actually predicts why people do the things they do. Tony Robbins said, let your prospect determine your presentation. Well, how do you do that? Are you spending hours searching, looking to see how can you connect with this person? What does this person like? And you're spending hours and hours trying to research how you're going to connect, but you're just guessing. What if you actually knew? So let's look at what the system is. And once I go through this, you're going to realize how people make decisions differently because they are different. We have your blueprint. They're inside the box. Think of the person who needs things like stability, systems, structure, planning, processes, predictability. They are all about rules. Credentials and titles mean a lot to them. They're the ones who are going to say, oh, they weren't dressed professional. They weren't organized. I don't want to work with them. They're risky, right? Think of it, and the reason it's the color blue is they're colder to approach. They're going to give you that traditional handshake. They're going to be in that business attire. But then we have the action. Look at the red. Think of the red carpet. Little firecrackers in your hands. These are the movers, the shakers, the millionaire makers. They're going to come at you like they just drank a Red Bull. They may talk really fast. They talk fast, they drive fast, they are fast. They have completely different values than your blueprint. They like freedom, flexibility, spontaneity, action, fun, image. They're the people who make decisions like that. Maybe you've had a call with them. Maybe you've sold them really fast. Because if they want something, they don't care how much it costs, they're going to buy it because they want it. They don't got to think about it, right? So you see how different they are? They love risk. They're completely opposite of a blueprint. And we have your nurturing. Think of sunshine and rainbows and flowers. And they are all about relationships. They need to have that connection. They need to know they're important. They need things like authenticity, personal growth, morality, teamwork, community. They are all about the relationship. They want to know that they're important. They want to have eye contact with you. They're the ones that are going to hug you and they're going to hold on to you forever. It might even be Aunt Betty, right? You see her at the holiday season, the dinner, and she's hanging on to you and not letting go. But they base things on emotions. They're going to buy if they like you. They may have 300 different makeups in their closet because they wanted to help a friend. They didn't really need it, but they bought it anyway. Then you have your knowledge. Think of them as the ones who are like, listen, without me, you don't have a box because I engineered it. They are the type of people who need all of the information. They are all about learning, intelligence, logic, self-mastery. It has to make sense. They're the ones who are going to ask you a ton of questions. They're the ones that don't like to be sold to at all. And when they're ready and they make their decision on their own, they'll come back to you. But you have to give them time to make that decision. So what is your bank code? I am going to give a link that you will all be able to get your report to see what your bank code is. Because here's the secret. There are 24 different ways that people show up, which means there's a 4% chance not knowing their code. Knowing their full bank code gives you a 75% chance of getting that sale. Because there are going to be people who don't need your service. But every person that you connect with may not be your person. But guess what? They are connected to an entire network of people. And if they truly like you, they will connect you to other people. The quality of life is in direct proportion to the quality of your relationships. So if you want to grow your business, if you want to have harmony in your life, it's about understanding people, truly, authentically understanding them and connecting with them and focusing on what they need and how you can help them, how you can communicate better with them because you're going to respect them enough to speak their language. And that is how you will close more sales in less time, build stronger relationships, and understand the people around you. We all love Les Brown. Said bank is a game changer for every entrepreneur and sales professional who will strengthen your confidence, expand your selling skills, and dramatically increase your income. So if anyone would like to set up a complimentary talk with me, I'm giving also a 30-minute complimentary communication assessment for anyone who's interested. And also you will get your free bank code if you want to learn more about how you can dramatically change your business and grow it faster.
Thank you so much, Michelle. That was wonderful. Lois?
Thank you. Thank you. And you know what? You may be getting a little bit overwhelmed by all the different links and places that you can go to download these things or connect. In the replay, we will have a list of all of these referenced. So the downloadable link that Michelle just talked about will be there. It's available for you. We've done it because we really want you to use these resources. They're here to become building blocks for you. Okay. Thank you so much, Michelle. Our next speaker is Randy Carpinia. Randy Carpinia is going to talk with us about protect your uniqueness. Randy Carpinia is founder of Sagacity Legal, helps small business and entrepreneurs remove their legal what ifs so they can wow the world. With over 20 years of legal experience, Ms. Carpinia is a recognized expert in all aspects of business, legal, management, with a focus on intellectual property. And having somebody who really knows intellectual property, if you're going down that road, that's huge. So just take note. She has a focus on intellectual property, legal operations, online legal protection. At Sagacity Legal, she guides her clients through the legal risks they'll face now and in the future so they can focus their time and efforts on the value, expertise, and experience they bring to their business. Ms. Carpinia's credentials include a BEE with honors from Georgia Institute of Technology, an MEE from Florida Atlantic University, and a JD magna cum laude from Nova Southeastern University. Ms. Carpinia is admitted to practice law in Florida before the USPTO, so that's the patent office, and is a Florida Bar Board certified intellectual property lawyer. Ms. Carpenia is actively involved in the community, including the chair of AIPLA Mentoring Committee, a Florida patent pro bono attorney volunteer, an FESN network creator, and the coach of David's team at the annual Palm Beach County American Heart Association Heart Walk. Ms. Carpenia was also honored as a 2021 Small Business Person of the Year finalist by the Chamber of Commerce of the Palm Beaches. So Randy, with that, we look forward to what you have to share with us.
Boy, that bio makes me sound like I know what I'm talking about.
It does.
And you do.
Okay, let me share. You guys see my screen?
All good.
Awesome. So let's get started. And we've been talking about sales and organic attraction and worrying about our finances. So why the heck does this attorney need to be in this group? It's because you need to protect each and every bit of that. So let's start from the beginning. Why should you even worry about protecting your uniqueness? Well, it's really easy. Your uniqueness is you. It's your you factor. It's what makes you successful. If you don't protect that, what could happen? Well, let's talk about it. So here's what happens. Your success, your uniqueness is that special product, method, brand, service, all of those things that you've created in your business that's brought value to your business, that's put you, as Chris Prouty would say, above the rest of the competition. Nobody can come close to what you've done. But here's the problem. As you develop that uniqueness, everybody's watching. And the more successful you become, the more vulnerable you become to copying. It's a fact. Copycats will use your inventions, your methods. They'll even try to attach to you as though they're part of your business, as though you're advocating for their business. And without legal protection, that copying, that sameness will lead to a loss in competitive advantage. Okay, I know what you're saying. I'm a small business. It's not going to happen to me. So here's the deal. Trust me. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Okay, so now you're like, great, now I'm worried, Randy. Now what can I possibly do? So this attorney, as my clients will tell you, doesn't normally like DIY kind of stuff. But for the next part of what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to give you some actionable items of things that you can do right now, today. As Brian Daly said, if you didn't start early, start now. So here's the first. Step one, get ready, pay attention, put down your phone, stop answering that email. No trespassing signs. No trespassing signs. This is my legalese, my way to talk about it. Lets people know, hey, it's mine. You can't use it, or you can only use it for certain things. Usually it's for personal use. So, okay, if you're in my course, you can use what I teach you for yourself, but you can't then take that and sell it to somebody else. So the first no trespassing sign is a copyright notice. Oh, isn't that amazing that there's one on every one of my slides? Of course there is. Okay, every one of my colleagues on this call should have had copyright notices on their presentations. The second is trademark copyright common law notices. So most people think that until they register a trademark and they get that nice R, they can't let people know it's my property, but they actually can. You can put it for goods, a superscript TM, for services, a superscript SM, on every word, every logo, every phrase, Everything unique that you want people to know is yours. Put the no trespassing signs. Next, online legal protection. Your website should have really good terms and conditions. The terms and conditions of your website, that's your contract to every single person who enters that website. That again is a no trespassing sign. Everything on this website belongs to me. You can use it for yourself only. I don't guarantee any third-party content. These are all things that go into your terms and conditions. And then you get an easy bonus. You take the link to those terms and you put them on every one of your social media pages, because you want people to know that, again, when they're on your social media interacting with your content, that also is yours and you own it and you believe in it and you protect it. Okay, so that was step one. Step two, do it yourself. Content ownership. The first thing is use your own content. I always say that your own B+ material is better than the risk of using and possibly being sued by an A+ creator. Wherever and always, with very little exceptions, use your own content, your own photos, your own images, your own quotes that you make up, whatever it is, your own blogs. You can do this. Work with people that can help you, like Chris, to understand what it is that will make you unique and show. Don't take others. Okay, but then you say, no, you know what? There's certain content out there that really is just so fantastic and I want to use it. And I know that my clients will get a big bonus by using it. Then get permission. And permission is not, well, it was on a free stock photo site on the web. Permission is not, well, I took that class and they gave me the ebook so I can use the material. Mm-hmm. Permission is knowing who the owner is of the content, having permission to use from the actual owner, and having permission from any person or any brand that is anywhere within it. Lots of if can happen. You can do your second line of defense, but be careful. Okay, the third, super important. Again, we're going to the, if you didn't start early, let's start now. If you have content out there, pictures on your website, social media posts that include wording from somebody else, material that you've shared with people, take it down. Take it down today. This weekend, get a glass of wine, go through your Facebook, even your personal social posts. Delete, delete, delete. Trust me, you're better off taking it down than getting a cease and desist or a lawsuit later on. I've had those clients too. Okay, so all this time I've been telling you what you should do. So now let's talk about the things you shouldn't do, the things where you need a legal expert. You need someone like me or anyone else who really has the experience and can help you, because I've seen that too. So now let's talk about where you need an attorney, where you don't want to do it yourself. And the first is intellectual property. You know, Lois read this bio I have that tells you over 20 years doing this stuff, lots of education, lots of certifications. There's a reason for that. You have to understand that even though you can go on the trademark site and file a trademark application yourself, even though you can file a patent all by yourself, even though you can file a copyright all by yourself, you shouldn't do it. And let me give an analogy that most people get. Say you're going out and buying a house, and many of us have. One of the first things that happens before you close on that house is an expert surveyor is hired. And they survey that property and they determine the metes and bounds of the property, the four corners of it. And you have that survey. And when you go in and you pay the money and you own that house, you have the confidence of knowing exactly what you own. Well, here's the thing. Would you do your own survey? Well, you could. It's really not that hard, right? You've seen the guy out there with the equipment and putting the arrows and the stakes in the ground. Sure, you could. Would you be comfortable? And that's exactly what happens with intellectual property. Even if you're able to file a trademark and it gets registered, if you're able to file a patent on your own and it gets granted, what you own may not be what you think you own. The patent claims define your ownership of a patent. The trademark classes define the ownership of the trademark. The copyright specimen defines the ownership of the copyright. And only an expert can really be sure of that ownership. Okay, one more thing. Contracts and agreements. I see relationships, especially in small businesses, two ways. One are those pieces of paper you sign. You know, you get a DIY off the web, or someone you really want to work with hands you something and says, please sign this. Well, you're in the honeymoon phase. Everything's great. This is no problem. Sure, I'm not going to read all those little small prints. Too confusing. I trust this person, and you sign it. Okay, the other piece, the informal. People go into agreements and relationships by text messaging, by handshakes, by verbal, yeah, let's do this. And you just start and everything's great until it's not. And whether you have a written agreement or you don't, you have just a verbal or a message or a handshake. In the end, when something goes wrong, and it will, some miscommunication, some misunderstanding, having an attorney at the beginning to show you how to protect yourself and your business is crucial. So I have people come to me all the time after the fact. They're stressed, they're unhappy, they don't understand how this could happen. Don't let that be you. Come to an attorney from the beginning. Work with an expert where it matters. Okay, so now you know how to protect your uniqueness. Make your plan and just do it. And I'll turn it back to Eileen and Lois.
Randy, thank you so much. You know, I think especially in this world where copycats are huge, it is so important to really be on top of it. So I appreciate your perspective. And we're not careful enough as small business people about how to protect ourselves. And when you wake up because you have a problem, that's too late. So thank you for your comments. Eileen, I'll turn it back over to you.
Randy is there in order for us to do our businesses and do it well and go back to it. And she's there to protect us. And speaking about protection, we were going to move on to Kathy Myron, who is going to protect our businesses. She is going to be speaking on when your company is hacked, will you be prepared? So let me just switch the slide 1 second, please. Okay. Kathy brings her Fortune 500 experience to her business clients. Her strategies help clients avoid data loss and downtime by implementing practical, actionable strategies to disaster-proof their businesses. Outside of eSilo, Kathy is a speaker, trainer, and certified small business mentor with SCORE. She also serves as a board member and advisory committee member for nonprofits committed to improving access to tech and education in South Florida. Kathy, stage is yours. Do you have a screen share?
Yes. Let's see.
Thank you so much. Tell us how to protect our businesses.
All right. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Excellent. So first of all, thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be with all of you. We've had some amazing speakers, and hopefully I can keep the IT and cybersecurity portion just as lively as the rest of it. So I want to start by saying this. You know, everybody reads the news and sees the headlines and maybe is wondering, oh, are those cyber threats real? Is that a real risk that faces my business? And I want to leave you with this figure. So in the first 6 months of 2021, we have already had more cyber attacks, more ransomware attacks than in all of 2020 combined. Excuse me. And that was already a record-setting year because of COVID and all of the increase in remote work and scams and things like that. And then the other statistic is that small businesses are targets of 50% of all cybercrime. And most of that cybercrime is all financially motivated. And that's because the attackers know that smaller businesses don't have the same level of expertise and resources and knowledge that some of the big guys do. And they're more dependent on their data and their systems in order to function. They have a smaller cushion. So for those of you who follow me on LinkedIn and social media, you know I post a lot of tech tips about what you can do to protect yourself at work and at home when it comes to cybersecurity. And because business leaders are valuable targets, right? It's easy to make a mistake, you're really busy, and the cost of one of those mistakes can be devastating to both your personal reputation as well as your company. It can cost you dearly. But those tech tips are really just the tip of the iceberg, right? The lowest common denominator for everybody who's out there. But because all of you are here in a business growth summit focused on what you can be doing for your business, my talk today is going to be about what you should be doing in the boardroom, not necessarily what you should be doing when you're sitting in front of your keyboard. So let's get started. So I think it's really important to tell you a little bit about myself and really who you're getting advice from. Kind of like how Chris said, there's a lot of amateurs out there on social media trying to teach you digital marketing. I can tell you from experience that there are a lot of amateurs out there delivering IT support to small businesses. Everybody seems to feel like they're qualified to give advice on cybersecurity, or they have a friend or a buddy or a nephew or somebody who's helping them with it. But the real question is what is their experience? And so I want you to know that my experience goes way beyond my 3 years as the CEO of 𝐍𝐚𝐯𝐢, a woman and minority-owned business, but that I cut my teeth for 15 years at GE right out of college. I started as an analyst. I worked my way up to a VP and a CTO. And all of those little dots on the map are places where I have lived and worked in a variety of different industries to really build my portfolio of experience. And that allows me to work with several different nonprofits, as Eileen mentioned. Oh, sorry, go back. Including SCORE, which many of you may have heard of before. So anyways, I want to start with a couple of different misconceptions and myths that small business owners are fed when it comes to cybersecurity. And they say that there's 3 types of knowledge: what you know, what you don't know, and what you don't know you don't know. So we're going to focus on that last one. And the first is that IT is not a cost center. So a lot of times in traditional business thinking, technology is part of the cost of doing business. Every year you want to spend less and less on that budget. It's a commodity. You want to get the cheapest service or the cheapest tool that does the job. What I would tell you though is that it should be viewed as a productivity driver, a source of competitive advantage, a source of innovation, a trust builder, and really a differentiator with you and your customers. So think about Airbnb and Uber and kind of what they've been able to do in their markets. The second thing that people think is that security is black and white. I'm either somehow secure or not secure. And what I would say is that being 100% secure is an unrealistic expectation. And that's in part because cyber threats are changing every day. And also in part because as a small business, you're never going to be able to do all of the things and buy all of the tools to completely lock everything down. So instead, you should think about it in terms of a spectrum. There's levels of maturity. And as a C-suite leader, you're sitting down and deciding, where is your risk appetite, right? What are you comfortable living with some level of risk? And therefore, where are you spending your limited resources and budget to ensure that the risk is at a certain level? Also, there's a tendency, I would say, to delegate to middle management, right? So whoever your IT person or IT company is, it's tempting to go and ask them, hey, what should we be doing for cybersecurity, and going along with whatever they suggest. But the problem is that when you build a strategy from the bottoms up, there's only so much that you can see, right? What you really need to be doing is building it from the top down, setting your risk tolerance, that risk appetite and the budget for cybersecurity from the very top, where you can see much further. And so the problem is if you were to go and ask whoever's doing your IT today, say, hey, what should we do for cybersecurity? They're probably going to take your current budget and just add a little bit on top of it, as opposed to really setting those requirements in line with business strategy and tying it to your overall growth and business goals. Another misconception is that that cybersecurity and IT in general is some superhero's job over there. And depending on your experience, you might not feel that your IT person is a superhero, because there's good and there's bad IT support. But the message here is that it's not any one person or department or company's job. It's the job of everyone in the organization to help protect and secure the systems and data. It's a little bit like culture, where somebody has to lead the charge, but at the end of the day, everybody has to buy in or it doesn't work. Business leaders are really good at delegation, and it's okay to delegate the work, but not the decisions. And so every business owner that I work with, I encourage them to build some level of foundational knowledge and understanding of digital technology, of cybersecurity, so that they can be informed consumers about these decisions. And so if you don't feel comfortable with that, or you're not sure if you even have the expertise in-house for someone to really teach you and the rest of your leadership team, then I would encourage you to look at something like a fractional chief information security officer or chief information officer, CIO, who can help augment that knowledge and build it back up in your team. And then lastly, there's this antiquated notion of protecting one's castle, or if I just keep the bad guys outside of our four walls, everything inside of it will be fine. Think about the castles and the moats. And what I would say is that today work is happening in so many different places, and not just physical locations, meaning the office or the home or the car or Starbucks, but online, right? In cloud tools, on servers that might be in your office. And so you have this additional set of risk exposure that you wouldn't have necessarily had before. And so you kind of have to think about it like there's this movie that I watched over the weekend called The Courier. And it's about a Cold War era spy who goes to Russia. And they basically say that assume every room that you're in is bugged and every person you talk to is an undercover spy. Well, when you're thinking about your online data, you kind of have to be paranoid and think that way too. The other comparison I would say is, in the old world of doing business, somebody who comes in the front doors of your office building, they're allowed free reign to move between the rooms and halls in your office. But zero trust security frameworks are built on the idea that every single door is locked. And on every one of those locks, there's a badge reader or a key. And each person has to prove their identity and prove the reason why they need access to what is on the other side. That is how you do modern security today. So there's a couple of helpful frameworks, now that I've scared you, that I want to give you tools to put in your toolbox for how to manage this risk and really plan your cybersecurity strategy for the long term, right? For the growth that you're expecting. And the first is this notion of risk. So risk is just as simple as the probability of something bad happening and the impact to your business when it does. And the thing that I think people don't often realize is that you can start to rack and stack these risks and put dollar values on it. So super simple example, if your probability of getting ransomware is about 50-50 this year, and the average cost of a ransom payment is $150,000, right? Round numbers, then the cost or the risk of a ransomware incident for your business is about $75,000. And so you step back and you ask yourself, when I'm planning my budgets, is that going to be really impactful for you? If you're smaller, it probably is. If you're a huge business, maybe not. Now, we're only talking about the ransom payment itself, so not the loss of revenue, the loss of productivity, brand reputation, legal fees to defend yourself from lawsuits and PR and all this other stuff. But just looking at that very objectively, you can start to prioritize, again, what IT or digital risks are you focused on? And then the second framework is using these rules of thumb. So studies by Accenture and Deloitte and others have said that most successful growing companies are spending about 5% of their overall revenue on technology. And of course, if you're starting up and your revenue is kind of not there yet, this won't necessarily scale, but I would encourage you to do the math based on where you're projecting to go and plan accordingly, right? You need a level of security control for where your business is going, not just where you are today. And then the second number is that of your IT budget, you should be spending about 10% of that on cybersecurity specific things. So that's tools, that's resources, that might be a consultant to help you. And so said differently, that's about 0.5%. So really not a lot. But I will tell you from working with hundreds of small businesses that they're spending a tiny fraction of that because they're trying to get as far as they can on free or consumer-based tools that honestly don't work and are not sized or sophisticated enough to match the risks that they're facing. So when you have a limited budget, you've got to prioritize. And so this simple 4-blocker is a really easy way to think about how you prioritize what systems, what data, what things in your business you need to protect. And so on the x-axis, you've got critical things that are critical to secure. So the penalty for a data breach or a systems outage, anything like that is going to be really, really severe. When we say SPII, that is sensitive, personally identifiable information, the kind of stuff that you can get slapped a really heavy fine if you're not adequately protecting. But then on the y-axis, you've got things that are critical to your day-to-day operations. So without this, you're pretty much dead in the water and you can't function and serve your clients. So that might be your customer list or your email system or, other things like that. But when you map everything out on a 4-blocker, it really helps you hone in on what are the areas that you need to put your focused budget and resources. And then lastly, you've got these building blocks of security. And so if I start kind of at the bottom, you have to know where all your assets are in order to protect them. And so that's physical computers, that's accounts, that's passwords, that's everything. You need to ensure that what gets in front of your staff, right, the emails, the messages, the communications, are all scrubbed to the best extent possible so that phishing emails and malware never even make it to their inboxes in their email. Then you need policies to set your standards for what your people need to be doing and how they protect company information and company assets. Then you've got to train them on those policies so they know how to do what is being asked of them and they have the tools available to do that. And at the very, very top, you've got the devices, the network, and the data. So these are your crown jewels. These are the things that you have to and want to lock down and back up so that you're minimizing your chance of any kind of cyber attack affecting your business. And when one does, right, like Randy said, it's not if, but it's when, you have something to fall back on to recover quickly. But building blocks themselves are not very useful unless they're assembled into a watertight, airtight, whatever analogy you want to use, wall, right? And so that's where working with a professional can help you so that you're not just buying point solutions or band-aids, slapping them in place and expecting to be secure, but rather everything is put together in a very strategic way so that you're minimizing your risk and protecting your business. So they say that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so my question to you would be, would you rather pay less now or pay more later? And the cost of a cyber attack is not just in lost revenue and productivity or the out-of-pocket legal and IT expenses to fix whatever was broken, but it's also quantified in the erosion of your brand and your trust, hard-earned client trust. And ultimately that affects your ability to attract new clients and also retain them. And then, of course, you've got the regulatory component as well if you happen to work in the financial industry or healthcare, as an example. So to counterbalance that, right, what can you do? And this is where a good set of data backups will help ensure that whatever damage has happened, you're able to reverse it. So that kind of takes care of what's at the top. And then from a financial perspective, right, how do you protect your wallet? This is where cyber insurance comes into play. So if you've got insurance for your data through your offsite backups, and you've got insurance for your wallet and those out-of-pocket expenses through cyber liability coverage, then you're going to be decently well prepared for the situation when you've experienced a cyber attack and how to continue your business for the years forward. what we didn't talk about today were the tactical nitty-gritty things that you or your IT company should be doing to protect your systems and information, right? We deliberately focused on what you do in the boardroom. But my giveaway, my PDF guidebook on 7 simple steps to protect your business from hackers is going to give you the starting point for that. So you marry the two together and you've got a complete view of where you should get started. And of course, if you have questions implementing any of this, feel free to reach out to me at meetkathy.com where you can schedule a complimentary consultation.
Kathy, thank you so much. That is wonderful. There's so many things I learned from you that I have a checklist in my head and I'm going, just a minute, what have I done about that? And so one of the things I would ask of all of us that are listening today is, we've talked about digital marketing and we've talked about sales. We've talked about legal aspects, now security and selling. And do we have a strategy for dealing with each one of these, finance as well? Because these are our building blocks, our foundations to a successful business. Each one is important. So take a look at that and make sure you've got it covered. If not, reach out to these people because they're here for you to really make a thriving business. Our last speaker today is Eileen Ryan. And Eileen has become a friend as we have worked on this project together, bringing you tools to really help you become successful. Eileen is going to speak on developing a LinkedIn profile to create credibility and generate business. Eileen is a professional recruiter, managing partner in marketing and sales resources and executive search firm focused on industrial products, B2B channels, and is also the president of Pounding Pavement 101, a program where she shares the inside secrets from the view of the recruiter to job seekers on how to get hired rapidly. Eileen's advice for creating resumes and LinkedIn profiles turbocharges visibility and generates activity. And I know when my daughter was struggling to figure out what she was going to do next, my go-to person was Eileen. So with that, Eileen, it's yours.
Thank you, Lois. Thank you, speakers. You are a tough act to follow, I got to tell you. And I greatly appreciate for everyone sticking around to the end. So I'm going to get started. And, when I was starting to think about what was I going to speak on today, yes, I can speak on how to hire sales teams or when it's time to recruit or when it's time to look for a job and give up entrepreneurship. But you know what? I wanted to give you something tactical. I wanted to give you something that you can implement right now to make a difference in your presentation to the world. We're going to talk about LinkedIn profiles because that's where I spend my day. I have a LinkedIn recruiters account. I am on LinkedIn 24/7 for all of my clients. You know it because they're messaging me all day and night, and I'm responding like that. So let's get started. So why should you listen to me about this? Well, I'm an executive recruiter, managing partner. I've been a recruiter for the past 11 years. I'm also a job search strategist. I teach people how to use LinkedIn, how to create immense amounts of visibility for themselves so this way they can get hired. I teach them how to market themselves. I've been a corporate trainer, a creative director, marketing director for many years, and an information graphics designer. I am also involved with First Robotics. I'm a mentor of a world championship team. I'm a judge. I am now a judge advisor and a volunteer coordinator. So I've been involved in the community. Now, why did I tell you all of this? It's because now you know a little bit about me. You know the credibility as to where the information is coming from. And that's what the LinkedIn profile is all about. It's building your credibility. Why should we be listening to you? Why should we look at this panel of people, this panel of experts, and why are they the experts? And if you look at those LinkedIn profiles, I guarantee you'll know why. So let's take a look at LinkedIn. There are 760 million people on LinkedIn. These are potential clients of yours. Take a look at the breakdown, men to women. There are 310 million monthly active users. 171 million are from the US. What would happen if you had a portion of that business? 55% are the decision makers of the organizations. These are your potential clients. And 98% of Fortune 500 companies are using LinkedIn to tell their stories, to reach out to you as a client. And you know what? This levels the playing field because you can reach out to them. 80% of B2B marketers consider LinkedIn effective for lead generation. Let's just take a moment to absorb that information. You should be using LinkedIn for your lead generation and reaching out to people. I guarantee you, Chris Prouty will show you exactly how to do that. 3 times more conversions than Twitter and Facebook. Think about that. The business is on LinkedIn to reach out. You need that profile. You need, just like your storefront, this is how it's operated. It's almost as important, or maybe even more important, than your website. $1.86 billion in annual revenue is generated from LinkedIn alone. And there are 61 million users that are senior level influencers. Have I convinced you at this point how important LinkedIn is to your business? So we all know that LinkedIn is for the job user. We know that, okay? We know people go there, and that's where this all started, okay? It's to gain the visibility. However, it is just as important for your business growth. You need to be able to put yourself out there into the world, into LinkedIn. This is where business is being done. So we know if you're looking for a job, okay, you're trying to create that professional presence, you're trying to create visibility for yourself. You need to keep this updated at all times. I cannot tell you how many times I see an old profile, an old photo, and I can tell. We all can tell, you know, when that photo is from the 1970s, 1980s, 1990s. We can tell. But this is for the business owner as well, because people do business with people. I want to learn about you before I get on any phone call with anyone, be it on a one-to-one call, a business call. I'm researching you. I'm researching the person. I want to find that connection. I want to find the familiarity because people do business with people. I want to have a conversation. So here's the reality. I have a saying, palace. People are lazy and silly. It's not nice to say stupid. And I say this is because you want to connect the dots for people. You want them to hire you. You want them to reach out to you. You want them to say, Randy, wow, you know this legal business. Okay, Randy has an engineering degree. She knows trademarks. She knows IP. Okay, I have an understanding. I want to work with her. This is so important. Okay. So I'm going back to the Yellow Pages, and maybe I'm dating myself. Many people here will remember the Yellow Pages, and for some reason, we used to save these books forever. Remember, they used to line up in the kitchen, and they were in my kitchen pantry for years. Don't know why we did that. But if I look at the Yellow Pages, and let's say it's holiday season, and I wanted to buy a Christmas tree. So I would look up in the Yellow Pages, and there would be tons of nurseries. Well, who would I call first? I don't want to call all of them. I would find the one that says Christmas trees. Remember, palace, people are lazy and silly. Connect the dots for them. This place was very smart, and they said, I sell Christmas trees. Guess what? I'm going to call them. Let's do this again. My child just got their license. I need car insurance. I need good car insurance. Okay, for those of us who have had teenage children, how many have had the cars smashed? I had one car total. Anyone else? Yep. So if I take a look at this, okay, there's car insurance. But look at that. This one knows how to deal with those young drivers because they're going to total that car. Again, connect the dots to let them want to work with you. So let's talk about this now. Let's start right from the beginning. I want a good headshot. I am tired of seeing no headshots. First of all, that's inexcusable in today's day and age. Take your phone and take a picture. But I want a professional headshot. It will make all the difference in the world. Because I see photos that are provocative. I see crazy photos. I see sloppy photos. I see sunglasses. You want to engage with someone. You want to smile. You want your eyes forward. You want to attract. I do not want to see a mugshot. I cannot tell you how many times I see someone in a mugshot like this. I don't want to see that because I don't want to talk to that person. People reflect what they see. If they see you smiling, they see you engaging, you know what? They smile back. People do business with people. It's that simple. And this is an incredible statistic. Profiles with professional headshots get 14 times more profile views. There's someone on this panel, not on the panel, in attending, Peter O'Hara. He is an incredible photographer for headshots. Kathy, Randy, your headshots were done by Peter. I'm going to have mine done. If you need a photographer in the area, I have photographers across the country that I could recommend to you. Invest in yourself, invest in your career. It's not that much money. And get that headshot because look at how it came to life. That background, when I see that green background on a LinkedIn profile, that tells me someone doesn't know what they're doing. That tells me someone's not engaging. That's wasted space, wasted advertising space for your business. Why are you giving it away? Showcase and show your story. Who and what you're about. Look at how that just came to life. This is someone who is interested in doing business with me. This is someone who's interested in doing business in general. But this is someone who's telling me who and what they're about. Immediately, I can tell. Your headline is invaluable to you. Again, Palace, remember Palace, P-A-L-A-S, people are lazy and silly. Spell it out and connect the dots for them. Tell me what you do. I cannot tell you how many resumes I read. I read about 500 a day. How many profiles I look at that at the end of reading it, I have absolutely no idea what the person does. I have no idea what industry they're in. I have no idea who they serve or what they do. I need that information. Tell me. You have 220 characters to do this. I think we can all do that. When I see a URL that is not customized, again, that tells me someone doesn't know what they're doing. You want to customize this rather than Eileen-Ryan at ABBA574. Gee, it's a lot easier just to have Eileen Ryan. Except I always have to spell my name for the rest of my life. No one can ever spell my name, but that's okay. It's there. And it's easy to do. It's right here on your LinkedIn profile. Just click Edit Profile and URL. It will take you to this page, and right there, click the Edit button. Customize it. Use whatever name you want. I don't care. Just make it personalized. I have it as my name. I could have had it as Pounding Pavement 101. I could have had it as marketing and sales. I could have had it building careers or get hired, whatever you want it to be. The about section is so important because that's when you can tell your story. I don't need a full dissertation, however. I do not need paragraph upon paragraph upon paragraph. I want you to keep it simple. The goal here is to sell yourself. The goal is to tell your story. Why should I want to do business with you? But it's not about you. And everyone on this panel has said this. It's not about you. It's what can you do for your client? What is that transformation that you can make to make the difference in their world? Why should they want to call you and contact you? And always use bullets. You know, I don't want to sit there and read 5 different paragraphs. You know what? Again, callous. People are lazy and silly. Spell it out easily for me. Okay, so I want bullets. And tell me everything that you ever learned in kindergarten. Remember that? Okay, our basic stories, who, what, when, where, why, and how. And then I'll want to call you and I want to connect with you. And then we can do business. That featured section is so incredibly valuable. Every section, if you notice, I'm saying the same thing. Showcase your work, showcase your testimonials, articles, videos, books, posts, everything to show that you are the expert in what you do. Now, if I go to that experience section, and let's say I want to create a social media presence for my business. I need someone who knows the social side and the technical side, who has that proven methodology. Well, I bring up Chris Prouty's profile. Says it right there. Oh, so simple. And I take a look and I say, he's been doing this for 20 years. 20 years he's been in business. He must know something. He must be good at this to be able to support himself, his family for 20 years doing this. And look at this. He has a degree in mathematics. So he's not coming from the design side. He's coming from the analytical side. He has an understanding behind the scenes. And he has a featured section. This tells me a little bit more about him and his program. Let's do this again. I just started the business. I need to file some business legal papers. I need someone with legal experience. Attorney for small businesses and entrepreneurs. That's me. I do that. Fantastic. Let me learn more about Randy. And as I take a look, I look at all of her experience. I look at the experience that she was an attorney for Motorola for how many years, Randy? 8 years. Oh, shh. Okay. 28 years. I have a big corporate attorney on my side. And then I even take a look at her education. This is building her credibility as an attorney to let me know that this is someone that I can trust with my business. We're going to go one more. Just got hacked. What do? I need to protect my digital files for my business. I need someone with that background. And I take a look at Kathy for eSilo. Take a look at Kathy's background. This is someone then who will be protecting my business. And you can see that she has a long history in this. These are the people that I would want to reach out to. You need to build that experience. Tell your story on your LinkedIn profile. Let's go to the education. Now, not everyone has an education that is applicable to what they're actually doing now. But if you do, like I know Mr. Brian Daly does, because he has a background in finance. He has an education in finance. He's been doing this a long time. Brian, I won't say how many years. Okay. But that would be of interest to me. This isn't someone who woke up today and decided to go to be a financial advisor. He has been doing this and has an expertise in this. I want to see your volunteer experience. Again, remember, people do business with people. I want the connection to you. The fact that I have FIRST Robotics on my profile immediately connects me to the FIRST Robotics community. What do you do in your community that connects you? You want people to be endorsing you for these skills. You want to know what they're about. What are they good at? Let's talk about recommendations. We all have the recommendations letters from years ago, and then they went into the circular file and the file cabinet, and no one ever saw them again. But here, they're right in front of you. And although the skills and endorsements are nice, you know what? People can do that and no one's looking at it because it's hidden. But here, if someone took the time to write you a recommendation, would you read that? Because you know what? Their photo is attached to it. This is incredibly important. Now, if I see a recommendation in 2001 and I don't see anything until now, well, I wonder what's going on. Why hasn't this person been active? Why haven't they kept up with it? So this has to constantly be updated. Always look at your LinkedIn profile updated. I update mine probably weekly, probably a little bit more than I should, but I'm always changing it and updating it. And you do want to add in your accomplishments. And Randy will tell us, okay, our patents, anything that is trademarked, you want in there. Your honors and awards. Kathy was just nominated a finalist as Woman of the Year at a Chamber of Commerce. Those types of things need to go in there. That will impress and connect you with people. So you want to connect on LinkedIn constantly. I want everyone out there to connect with me. There's my LinkedIn. It's Eileen Rein, ILENE-REIN. Okay, connect and work your network. But don't just connect with people, actually talk to them. You know, there are so many people who reach out and they just connect and I hit accept and I never hear from them again. Mm-hmm. That's not what this is about. It's building relationships. Build relationships with people. Because you know what? At the end of the day, people do business with people, not companies. So 3 things to remember as you walk away from this. It's all in the presentation. Remember, PALAS, P-A-L-A-S, connect the dots for people so this way they want to do business with you. Don't leave it to them to figure it out. Make it easy for them. Create your credibility. It's not about you. It's what can you do for them? Talk about yourself. This is the place to do it. Tell them why they should want to do business with you. And continue to build your network. Talk to people. I know we're all in little boxes right now, but you know what? We're coming out of that. And even if you're in little boxes, people are willing to take the calls now. They're willing to connect because they're looking to make connections with people. I will tell you, I'm an executive recruiter. I recruit for marketing and sales professionals. That is my niche. I also am a job search strategist. If you know someone who is looking for a job, I can get them hired in 4 to 6 weeks. Thank you so much. Thank you for staying as I was the last speaker of this. Lois, I'm going to pass it back to you. Here's my information and we can open it up for a question and answer for anyone on the panel.
Thank you so much, Eileen. Our time is up, and I know we had agreed to be done with by this time. So if you do have questions and answers, we'd be willing to stay for just a little bit and answer those questions. I would also like, before we do that, to thank once again those who sponsored this event for us. It is wonderful to have that support and help. And to each of you speakers, thank you. Your expertise and your willingness to share your expertise is incredible, and people are hungry for real information. So thanks so much. Okay, let's have questions and put them in the chat if you would like. And
Were there
we will
any questions prior? I wasn't keeping tabs of the chat, but if anyone has any questions for any of the speakers, now is the time to ask. I'm not seeing anything coming through. Up. Yes, we are able to save the chat. The 3 dots in the lower right-hand side. Just click and save. Yes, you will be able to get ebooks and downloads from everyone here. There will be a replay that will be on our website. So we will send that out next week. To save the chat, in the chat area, there are 3 dots. Just click on the 3 dots and hit Save Chat.
The participants might not be able to save the chat.
Oh, they cannot save the chat?
No, I think in this format, participants don't have the access to save the chat.
Okay.
Well,
so we have the chat saved, but all of the contact information for all of the speakers will be sent out to everyone. I think you can do a select all and then copy and paste. Is that right, Chris?
Maybe.
Chris will test it out for us.
Just double click inside the chat and then Command-Control-A on your keyboard, and that should select it all.
Yep, and then you can paste it right into Microsoft Word. Okay, Lois, I don't think we have any questions, so thank you so much for coming to our business summit. Our next summit's coming up. January 19th will be our next career summit. So we will be sending out information about that. And our next business summit is scheduled for February 23rd.
We look forward to seeing you all again very soon. And in the meantime, have happy and wonderful holidays. Thanksgiving is a great time to spend with family, but being in gratitude after all of what businesses have gone through.
Have a happy and a healthy new year.
Thanksgiving is also a great time to work on your business.
Of course. And now we all have the tools to do it. Okay, thank you very much. And that will be the end of our business summit, and have a happy holiday, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.